Yeah, my family hates my vocals. They support the band and they love it, but they just don't understand the vocals, you know, which I get. I don't really understand it either. As far as like death metal vocals go, the first band I ever heard that did the like death metal style was Deicide and Cancer. So yeah, I was on my mom's ex-boyfriend's iTunes. Yeah, I was going through his iTunes. I was trying to bootleg a Foo Fighters CD. Love Foo Fighters. Love it, by the way. But then I found like Cancer, Deicide, Suffocation, all that stuff on his iTunes. And I listened to the Deicide records that he had. And yeah, that was the first time I ever heard that style of vocal, death metal vocals and stuff like that. I was probably about 13 or 14 around there. And I didn't receive it the way I probably should have, just because I feel, for me personally, to understand this kind of music, I think you kind of either have to see it live or get a gateway band first. The gateway band for me was Slayer, and then once I got into all that and got through like the Metallicas and stuff like that, then death metal made more sense. But yeah, when I first heard it, I fucking hated it. It's too much to comprehend when you're not pretty well seasoned on it, you know what I mean? When you go from like Black Flag or like GBH straight to that, it's kind of like, it's a mind fuck, you know? So the first time I ever did vocals, I played in like a grindcore band almost. And I did drums and did vocals, and it was pretty easy, but it's not what I do now. It was more, it kind of sounded like shit, so I didn't know what I was doing. But, I mean, with this band, I wasn't supposed to do vocals in this band, but when I first started doing it with 200, yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. And I used to set my mic real low, kind of like, who does that? Sets the mic real low. I don't know, somebody sets the mic real low. But I used to do it like that, and it sounded like shit. So now I try to set the mic up a little bit higher, kind of like a Lemmy style, you know? And I think it sounds way better. But, yeah, the first time I ever tried to do it, it didn't sound very good. But people liked it. So, yeah, but I never really tried to do vocals when I first heard death metal because I never wanted to sing, you know what I mean? Yeah, I guess I just I started doing vocals in this band, and it sounded like shit when I first started to do it, is what I'm trying to say. We never really owned a PA system, so I never did vocals at practice. I just did it at our first show. Yeah, even with like the old band, that grindcore band I played in, we never had a PA, so we kind of just like, we would like learn the songs and do all that, and then, you know, obviously you'd practice the lyrics in your head, and then, you know, when the show comes up, we just went and did it. So that same thing with 200. We never practiced the vocals before the show. We just went and did it, and now it's easier than it was. But yeah, we never really practiced at home. I never practiced at home. I sometimes in my car I'll try to do it, and then it's not the same, and I hate it. So yeah, just at the shows really. Yeah, my family hates my vocals. But they understand it a little more now that they see people like it and it's popular, you know, to a sense. But yeah, they're not very into it. They support the band and they love it, but they just don't understand the vocals, you know, which I get. I don't really understand it either. My voice doesn't really ever hurt when I do vocals. They do more now, I guess, just because I know how to do it a little bit more, but I still don't know my limitations. So especially at like a really fucking like awesome show, I'll push it further than maybe I should. But no, they don't really ever hurt. I think usually for me, it's usually like the first week of a tour. It gets pretty strained out, but it doesn't really ever hurt though. Yeah, holding out like a long, like high shriek is what I have most trouble with. I can do it depending on where we're at in the tour, or you know, if we're like at the beginning or the end of a tour, middle of a tour. It happened today. I tried to do that and we have been off tour for 2 weeks now, and I tried to hold out like a long, you know, shriek thing, and I almost puked. So that's probably what I have the most problems with, is like the long held out shrieks. Enunciating is super important to me now. It didn't used to be. Like if you watch any old video or even listen to our old records, it was kind of just like a mush together of kind of like Chris Barnes style vocals, like Cannibal era. But like as we started to tour a little bit more, I kind of learned how to do it better and got better at it. And now I have like a totally different vocal style. So I try to enunciate a lot. I try to make it as clear as I possibly can from what I'm saying. I have the most trouble with it in the studio for some reason. I think it might be because I'm not playing a guitar. When I play guitar and do vocals, my vocals I think are way better. But I have real hard time in the studio doing vocals and enunciating and getting it all perfect. But live, it's a piece of cake live. But like I said, it kind of depends on where you're at in the tour, or if it's like a one-off show or whatever, you know. But yeah, I have a hard time in the studio. I kind of like the mystique of when I go to see a band. I like when the band, you don't see the band before they play. But he's a new guy, so no one really knows who he is yet. So he goes out and checks my vocals for me. Yeah, so yeah, he checks my vocals for me, and which is awesome. I appreciate that. I used to not, like during sound check, like before the doors even open, I wouldn't even check my vocals because I get really nervous about that kind of thing. But I do it now, but doing a line check before the show, like when the crowd's in and everyone's sitting there staring, he does that for me. I appreciate that. My boy. Our first tour, my voice held up pretty well, but I wasn't as loud as maybe I am now. So I think if maybe I tried to go back and do that style of vocal I did in the beginning, I think maybe it would be a little bit different, or maybe it would be a little bit easier. But I enjoy what I do now more, and it holds up pretty well. It holds up pretty well. I think it depends on the set we're playing with how hard it would be. But in the beginning it was easy. Now I have a little bit more trouble just because I'm trying to have more range. But yeah, it holds up pretty well, I think. I should rehearse, or not rehearse. I should warm up and stuff. But yeah, actually, yeah, we do take shots of whiskey because that does help the voice a little bit. So yeah, we do that. But no, I don't really have any like, me. I don't do that shit. I know I probably should, but I don't. But maybe I will one day. But yeah, no, not really. Take a shot of whiskey, you're good to go. Oh yeah, the cupping the mic thing. People consider it cheating, but I don't think it's cheating though. It sounds sick. That's like saying using a wah pedal or any type of guitar pedal is cheating. I don't think it's cheating. I think it's fucking awesome. Our Slave to the Scalpel record, I cupped the mic for the whole vocal session, which is kind of probably why it sounds the way it does. But yeah, obviously I can't really cup the mic when we play, but if I could, I would. I think it's awesome.